Hello everyone, happy Friday. I haven't been on camera for a long time, so I'm just I just like get so busy and there's so much going on, and I've got my 2J course coming up next weekend, so it's just go creating manuals and making sure everything's ready for the event. It's pretty cool. So anyway, I'm here today to talk about something that I am working with some of my clients with, which we're always working on communication. Communication is the one thing that every single person on this planet can do better, and it's also the one thing that none of us were taught how to do, let's say. And we're told not to do this, you're not doing it right, don't do it that way, in terms of the things that we do in life, but no one's actually sitting down with us and telling us how to communicate. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have seen, I think it's called Call to Courage. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you're watching live. So hashtag live if you're watching live, hashtag replay if you're watching replay, and also whereabouts in the world that you're from, because I've got an international audience, as most people do on Facebook, so it'd be great to know where you're from. Now, A Call to Courage, I think it's called, by Brene Brown. She's amazing. Very controversial in the news not so long ago for some things that she did, but anyway, the Call to Courage is an amazing TED talk that she does, and she specializes in courage and vulnerability. So I've watched it 3 or 4 times now, maybe 4 times, and I have bawled my eyes out every single time. I remember the first time I saw it, A Call to Courage by Brene Brown, and I cried so hard. It was just like someone knew how I felt. She was talking to exactly what I'd been through. So for years and years and years and years and years, I have been sexually harassed, abused, I've been tormented, I've been blackmailed, hi Benedict, I've all the things working in the field that I work in. And so, porn addiction, sexual abuse, sexual dysfunction, erectile dysfunction, mental health issues, and, tantra and kundalini and, all of those amazing sides of it. But unfortunately, in the industry, there's a massive problem with masculine toxicity. And I have stood up and out around this issue for so long. And back in the day when I was really passionate about it and it meant everything to me, things have changed now. I've shifted and I've rebranded and everything feels great now. But for so long, it was my one thing that I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I did all the research, all the credibility, all of the, I wrote the books, I did all of that because it was so important, and it was my mission here on the planet to make sure that we left a generation at least, if not multiple generations, of evolved and sexually evolved men. And so when I was being sexually harassed all the time, that was happening, but I was also being sexually harassed in person. And then the male coaches out in the world were pulling down my research and just saying that it's a bogus survey, you don't know what you're talking about, you're shaming men. So I've had to come up against the male coaches, the male not even male practitioners, male coaches, who aren't practitioners, who haven't done the research, but work with men. And it's all in my book, so you can read about it and you can have a good look at the journey I've been on. But the thing was that I was the one stepping into the arena, and this is what Brene Brown talks about. And she also talks about Roosevelt's speech about stepping into the arena, and how can, we live in an age where everyone's having a go at everyone and everyone cares, but no one cares, right? So everyone cares about what you're saying and they're like, nah, but then no one cares. And 24 hours later, you're in a nervous, breakdown still from things that were said online, or that's how it was for me, and I've for them as well. They've moved on to the next thing, and it was really, really difficult to handle, and I was like, my nervous system was shot. I had 5 nervous breakdowns, but I just kept pushing because I was so passionate about this. And she talks about not being able to, you can't have a go at the person in the arena unless you're standing there beside them, unless you're doing the research, unless you're stepping forward and being an entrepreneur and, and paving the way in this field or any field, then you need to shut your face, right? So it was really beautiful, and that's why I bawled my eyes out. But there's one thing in that video that I saw again recently when I watched it, and she talks to the way to communicate, and you start by saying the story I'm telling myself when you're trying to talk to a partner or a parent or a child. Mainly partners this works well with. So I'm working with couples at the moment, and I'm working with kids, and I'm working with teens, and I'm working with women, it's a really effective tool to get people to dig a little deeper in terms of their triggers, the way people speak to them, the way they're treated, all of that stuff. And they start to look at, well, when person A says this, I feel this, because the story I'm telling myself is, for example, I have permission to share this, by the way. I had a couple yesterday, and there's a lot of problems with communication, and they're in their late 60s, and so there's that generation of sweep it under the rug and just get on with life, and that kind of tough kind of attitude. So it's been a challenge for me, and it taught me so much. And I got them to, some of their homework was to go away with the line, and the way to open that line of communication is the story I'm telling myself is. And I got them to talk about ED and another conversation about intimacy, or both of those things all in the same one, but the two topics separately. And we had an amazing session. So they came back, they did their homework, and they came back, and the story that the male was telling himself about the ED is, why would anyone want to love someone who's a failure? And that's the story that sorry, I'm getting messages everywhere, the story he's telling himself, and because he's hidden it from her, and hasn't said anything, and he has been too embarrassed to talk about it. The story she was telling herself was that she's not valued, loved, and respected, right? And so when, for example, she asks him a question about something, and he says, I don't know, we even drill down to that level. When he says, I don't know, the story, and just shuts down around the conversation, is the story I'm telling myself is that he doesn't care, and that he doesn't want to talk to me, and that he doesn't value my opinion, or giving me the time of day to even answer my question. So we can use it in all types of scenarios. But once they came back with the story that they were telling themselves, because I work with stories all the time, my biggest thing is to get people out of their story. When you sit down in front of me, you're going to get a big long, when I used to do the massage with the men, the form you'd fill out was 6 pages long, because you either get a guy that comes in and says nothing, or you get a guy that comes in and it's just in his story, and he's been living in the past and his story all along, and can't even answer a simple question without going into the story. So the reason I have these long forms, and they're intuitively guided, is that I need to know those facts. I don't need to know your story, because you're stuck in your story. My job is to put all the puzzle pieces together and pull you out of that. So the story, things happen in our lives. Our memories aren't great. We think they are. We think we remember exactly what happened, but we throw things at it as we get older. We don't remember things as they were. 3, 4, 10 people can be in the same room at the same time and witness different things. So it's how you process things and how you filter things through your, inner child that was wounded, or your, wounded masculine or feminine. So when people are talking to you, or saying things, or not responding, or treating you a certain way, it's really important that you look at what it is that you think, or you're perceiving to be happening. So the story I'm telling myself, right? So they came back to me with those stories. Why would anyone want to love me as a failure? So he had ED. And then I'm not loved, respected, or valued, because he hadn't spoken to her about it, and she thought it was her, and they haven't had sex in a very long time. So what I did then was work with those statements as something we need to clear. So then we look up, with the kinesiology and the energy healing, like, we muscle testing. What are the emotions that are coming up that are contributing to this story that you're telling yourself? Where does this come from? Is it from childhood? Is it from the last relationship you were in? Is it all of the above? Is it everything that's ever happened to you in your life? And you start to see the pattern of emotions and things that are coming up. And so, I know for her, for example, it was thymus, which is about being lied to and the lack of integrity. And then it was spleen, which is needing assurance. And so these emotions sit in different parts of our body, and we clear those. Then we turn it around to the goal state, and we say things like, I am lovable, I am a success. And for her, it was, I am loved, I am respected and valued. And so we then test the muscle test, the stress on the goal. Like, how stressful is that goal, that you are lovable? We all want to feel lovable, respected and valued, but we can muscle test. I can get you to say that out aloud, and we muscle test, we get a no, because you don't feel that way, because that's where the problem lies. So then we muscle test, what is the stress on the goal? It might be 7 out of 10. It's like, it's really high. Like, you really can't feel loved and valued and respected, and you were never loved as a child, and all that stuff. So then we clear it. It was 7 out of 10, for example. And so we get it down to 0 or 1 out of 10. We can let it go down to 2, but I get really, I'm like, no, we need to get down to 0. And so did a lot of energy work for the couple. They were on Zoom, by the way. So they were just on Zoom, on the same, camera. And I was doing energy work on her, and then I was doing energy work on him. And, my body was moving and shaking, and all of the intuitive guidance was dropping in. And, this is somatic therapy, all right? I am a kinesiologist, I am a massage therapist, a psycho-spiritual therapist, a transformational coach. I teach lots of, kinesiology and massages. I know all about Tantra. I'm a breathwork coach. I'm a self-pleasure and intimacy coach. I do a whole lot of stuff, right? But really what we're looking at is it's somatic, which means it's mind, body. I can tell you right now, 100% guaranteed, if you go to a psychologist and all you do is talk therapy and there are no tools given to you, you cannot heal a porn addiction. And I would even go as far as saying you can't heal anything. I love psychology. I know there's plenty of psychologists out there who are amazing, but if you think that just seeing a counselor, therapist, psychologist, psychotherapist, psychiatrist is how you heal, then you would be wrong. And I love to put my opinions out there. So anyway, somatic therapy, mind, body. It's Chinese medicine. It's in the energy fields. It's in your resonance field. It's in your chakras, glands, organs. What wakes you up between 1 and 3 a.m. Anger and resentment, which is your liver doing the work there. So it sits in your different energy fields. There's lots of those as well. You have to heal this stuff at a really deep level, and this is what I'm really, really good at. So that's where we've been with the couples, especially. And I treated a 17-year-old today, and again, the story I'm telling myself. When you hear people roll off belief systems or limiting beliefs, internet's shit, sorry, I'm just no good at school, or I've never been good at anything, or I've never been great at that, or that type of stuff, then that's a limiting belief system. And so you can spin it around instantly by saying to them, the story I'm telling myself is what, and they say it, and they're like, oh my God, right? And it's really healing, it's really deep. And then clearing that, like, what is blocking that from being flipped and being true? So it's really, really cool. It's taken from Brene Brown stuff. I watch videos and movies even, and I get quotes, and it's like an intuitive truck just hits me across the head, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I need to use this, and we're gonna investigate this. So it was really important for me to watch that and work out the story I was telling myself when I was being sexually abused, sexually harassed all the time, sexual requests, and being touched and being doubted and slammed and abused, and even by colleagues and peers trying to pull down my research, saying I was shaming men. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I was so naive, and I just didn't get it, because I was helping men literally on the ground, working with them through sweat and tears and snot and convulsions and exorcisms, and and here I was doing on the job therapy, on the hands-on research, experience, all of that, and then ran this survey based on what I was already feeling, seeing and experiencing, and had a feeling that porn addiction, for example, was causing a lot of mental health issues, suicidal thoughts, prostate cancer, and ED. Right, and then my research came in, and it's been running since 2017. That's what the latest book was about, The Uncensored Threat, Losing Generations to Pornography. But there was a time in my life where, the last 10 years have been horrendous, where I was a pioneer and I got struck down just because I didn't have a penis, for starters. I still get those comments. There was one the other day. I don't understand how you understand men. How is this coming from a woman? What did he say? Men's energy is very complicated. How do you even understand that? How do you understand the vibration of men? And I'm like, okay. And so all I did was, and not in a smart ass way, I just said, how many men have you treated? How many men have you actually sat in the vibrational frequency of and shifted that frequency, as well as activated Kundalini and worked with all of the vibrations and the energy fields and the chakras and the glands and the blah, 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 blah. Like how many have you worked on? None. Right? But for years I was getting this every day. And so I don't react anymore, but I do address the comments, you don't have a penis and things like that. But it really got to me. And Brene Brown, Call to Courage, was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I got the poster, Roosevelt's thing. I can't remember how it goes, but it's about stepping into the arena, and that anyone that's not next to you in that arena with you at the time, with all of that courage and vulnerability that you are showing, needs to shut up, that they don't have a say, that there is no opinion of other people that should get to you, even though it does, right? So the story I'm telling myself is, just have a think about it. What is the one thing in your life that's really stressing you out, that you're just really struggling with? You might just feel stuck in life, but stuck means that you've come to a halt, that everything is overwhelming, that you've got too many options sometimes, and that you're afraid of success and failure and blah, blah, blah. But like, what is the story that you're telling yourself when you look in the mirror at your body? Which reminds me, I need to go back to the gym. Okay, so it's all about triggers. It's all about communication. I want you to try this with your partner. I want you to sit down and say, like, if something happens, like he doesn't do the dishes, or he leaves a dish on the bench, or it can be big stuff, obviously, as well. But if there's something that's like a little trigger, just say, I just want to say something to you, and I want to say the story I'm telling myself. When you do this, this is the story I'm telling myself, and try and work out what it is. You'll have an amazing open communication, because then he'll start to go, oh, well, actually, when you do this, like when you roll over in bed and you don't make love to me, the story I'm telling myself is that you're not interested in me. And then it goes deeper than that. What does that then mean to you? Well, that I'm being rejected, that I'm not worthy of sex, that you don't love me, you don't want to touch me, that I'm, and then you can go even further, that I'm disgusting, that I'm, that you're not attracted to me. You can go really deep with this. Just one line, the story I'm telling myself. It's a really, really good communication tool. So, Joel and I are going to go live again, probably tomorrow, because we've got some event stuff to work on Sunday. Tomorrow we'll be doing some live healings, and don't pull the cord. And I'm going to do some Kundalini activation on him, and you can all watch, and we'll get it right on video this time, because it was a bit of a weird thing that happened. We turned the camera and it didn't work. So I'm going to do some amazing energy healing on Joel on the weekend, and we might even do, I've got a pretty amazing teenager coming over on Sunday. I haven't spoken to her mum yet about it because it's just coming to me now, but we might even do some healings on Sunday live, because her Kundalini is actually activated and she's psychic, and it's just, she's actually doing my kinesiology course, which is amazing. So we're getting some teens do it. Like, how cool is that? These teens have these amazing abilities, these energy gifts. They've got intuition, and they don't know they don't know how to channel it, and they're starting to shut down these gifts and tools and abilities because they're not in a nurturing environment, which is the world. It's not just, you know, their family or whatever. So, you know, their mum might be really nurturing, but then they go to school and they can't say, you know, that they're seeing spirits and stuff. So we give them some, I've got someone over there in the garden half naked, which was great. Thanks, Joel. Anyway, we might do a live session with her as well, so you can see that this isn't just about sexuality and sexual energy and all that stuff. So Joel's also going to do a kinesiology balance on me to show you exactly how easy it is to learn kinesiology, and how anyone can do it, and how much he's picked up from doing, you know, my course. So speaking of which, that's on next weekend. If you'd like to do my course, you need to get in contact with me ASAP. The manuals are going to get done this weekend. I do always do a couple of spare manuals, but we've already started the group chat. They've already received their pre-training on self-muscle testing, which you get for free. And I'm about to start doing like the AO scan and doing the manifestation grid and all of the stuff that I get guided to do prior to. I also do some one-on-one sessions with people if they've been vaccinated, if they've got shattered chakras, if they're disconnected from their energy field. We want to make sure everyone's hydrated, having electrolytes. So I check in with everyone before the course to make sure everyone's okay, and not just asking them, are you okay? I actually do work with them one-on-one, because the last time I did that was just mind-blowing how quickly everyone picked everything up, how quickly everyone shifted their stuff on the table, and all the exorcisms, like I like to call it, all the kundalinis were activating. We don't even teach that, right? So when we prepare students for what is coming, it's pretty big, and it shifts everyone into the. And I do it at my DNA process as well. We make sure everyone's okay, and they get a one-on-one healing on the spot in front of everyone. So it's really cool. Anyway, if you want to do my course, come along. It's next weekend in Chelsea and Victoria and Melbourne, and I do offer payment plans. Payment is due this weekend, but we can work something out if you're struggling and you really feel called to do it. So let me know, and you get a manual and a whole 8 magic balances that you get to learn. You can do this on clients immediately, you know, and you don't have to be a practitioner already to be doing this course. So look out for our lives. The other thing I just wanted to quickly say is that Joel and I are going to start doing joint healings, where you come along and hopefully I'm going to be able to capture this at the course. We're going to do a demo, and yeah, I just want to know your thoughts on that. How do you feel? How would you feel? Or is that hypothetically something that you would like to book in for? I'm just trying to test the room and see if that's too powerful for people, if that's too confronting for people, or if that's too weird, or if it's the most amazing thing you've ever heard of. And if you've ever done my courses or been in the presence or the practice days of Joel and I, you can see the twin flame fire and energy and what happens to people when we both work on them. So we're about to start opening up to that possibility, and shifting into that being a reality. And so I just want to know, like, are you interested in something like that? And we can do it on Zoom, but we'd rather do it in person because we're both in the room. So that's exciting, right? And there's just so much amazing stuff happening. So I have to go now because I'm going off to a healing. So big shout out to Rhiannon, forgetting your last name, but she's done one of my little courses, and I'm going to, you know, she's going to heal the healer, and I'm very excited. So I don't even know what she's going to do. I think it's a mixture of spinal energetics and massage and healing and energy stuff, and oh, so excited. I'll see you all soon. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow on live and maybe on Sunday live as well. See ya.